previewing the NBA playoffs for this weekend on May the 19th and May 20th, Saturday and Sunday. From Joe Duffy's Picks, we have the NBA side for Saturday. Very likely we'll have Sunday NBA as well. And of course, it's at offshoreinsiders.com. The odds for the weekend action. Boston is a 6.5-point underdog, being up 2-0 at Cleveland, but they are still getting 6.5 at Cleveland. Total 205. There you can see the money line based on $100 per bet. Cleveland laying 280. And on Sunday, Golden State laying 7 at home in a series tied at 1 apiece. Total of 226. Golden State is a 330 favorite, meaning you would have to bet $330 or risk $330 to win 100, getting back 270 on the money line. Of course, we are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Promo code Duffy means you get a 50% sign-up bonus, the largest bonus that they allow. But most importantly, when you win, and if you're a client of Joe Duffy's Picks, you certainly will win, you will get paid on time each and every time. I've been getting paid on time from them for several years, as have my clients. Zero complaints. 0 times have I ever struggled to get a payout. Love them, and I've known several of the principals at MyBookie.ag before there was a MyBookie.ag, so I know they are run by total professionals, total business people. MyBookie.ag, promo code Duffy. Now a preview of the weekend action. Boston and Cleveland. Boston 9-0 straight up at home, and 1-4 on the road in the playoffs. They're 9-0 and 2-3 against the spread, respectively. Outscoring teams by 11.3 at home, but getting outscored by 9 on the road. Their only win was in overtime. The only straight-up win was in overtime when the 76ers, as you'll remember, just gave that game away with some of the sloppiest basketball, some terrible coaching. Celtics starters shooting 45% on the road, but the bench just 33%. So, you know, on one hand, you would say that, look, this should benefit Boston. With the rest, they'll be able to shorten their bench. But on the other hand, you would think that, you know, one of the reasons that they're struggling on the road is because they've got so much youth at the top of the lineup. I know we've talked again so much about the injuries, but, you know, they're just very young and very good. Their 3 leading scorers are all first and second year players. Then, of course, you have Al Horford, who's really having his best postseason ever. But then, on the other hand, you might say the older Cavs are going to benefit from the rest and the ability to make adjustments. I know I always hear, you know, you don't want to give this coach, this alleged very good coach, time to prepare for you because he will take you apart. We've actually disproven that. People who are generally considered to be better coaches do better on short turnarounds. It's the inferior coaches who can benefit from the extra prep time and the ability to make adjustments. The best coaches can make adjustments on the fly, and there's no question that Brad Stevens has been tremendous for Boston, clearly one of the top coaches in the league. Now, we're trying to be a little careful of retrofitting, but I do believe this does stand to make some sense. When both teams have had 3 days rest in the playoffs, and it doesn't always have to be the same series, it could theoretically be game 1 where they wouldn't have an equal number of days rest, but more times than not, they obviously do have an equal, or, you know, they're playing each other, they're playing another one, but it could also be in game 1 where they each have 3 days rest. But anyway, it goes over to 57.9% rate, and that does make sense in that you could say, that's kind of the ideal rest where they have enough to get their legs ready for fresh legs and they can play a good pace, but not too much rest where they're going to be rusty. Houston and Golden State. Houston plays all isolation, and they paid for it. We said with, you know, the athletes like Durant and Thompson and Green that, you know, Golden State would do very well defensively on isolation. They certainly did in Game 1. Houston didn't really make that many adjustments in Game 2. They really just executed better. They had much better ball movement. Houston had 12 uncontested threes, making 6 in Game 2, compared to 5 uncontested looks and 3 makes in Game 1. You know, the old adage, look, you were probably taught it when you were playing basketball in middle school and maybe even younger than that, but the key is ball movement and cutting because, look, the ball can move faster than the defense, and that's where Houston was much better in Game 2. More of the execution. They also did change the isolation in that James Harden went from 26 isolation plays to just 16 from game 1 to game 2, but Chris Paul's increased from 10 to 16, but that's more, Paul, of course, the great passer and the playmaker, so that's probably one of the reasons they did slightly change who they were isolating with, and that's maybe why they did have better ball movement. Houston's bench, was certainly much better in game 2 with Ariza, Gordon, and Tucker. All were very good on the bench. Golden State, one thing that they do, as good as they are, they've got a lot of unforced turnovers. Those are correctable. But, it really was. There weren't a lot of X's and O's adjustments from game 1 to game 2. It truly was, Golden State executed much better in game 1, and Houston executed much better in game 2. Still, as a general rule of thumb, the high-scoring game, or the games that are expected to be high-scoring, do go under. So our free play will be Houston and Golden State to go under the total. And make sure you visit offshoreinsiders.com for thoroughly vetted sportsbooks and thoroughly vetted and proven handicappers. offshoreinsiders.com.